What if I told you that the thing you're most proud of right now is the exact reason you're going to regret your life? Not someday, not when you're 80, soon. Sooner than you think. Because 5 months ago, I was healthy. I ran 3 miles every morning, drank green smoothies, did annual checkups, never smoked, barely drank. I thought I was doing everything right. Then one random Tuesday afternoon, a doctor walked into a white room, closed the door behind him, and said a sentence that split my life in half. Stage 4 lung cancer. It's advanced. We can't cure it. Just like that. No warning, no dramatic movie moment, no time to prepare some meaningful speech. One sentence, and suddenly my entire future disappeared. The retirement plan, the lake house I wanted to buy, the trips my wife and I kept postponing, meeting my future grandkids. Gone. Like someone hit delete. I'm 47 years old. They gave me 6 months. That was almost 5 months ago. So if the math is right, I've got maybe 3-4 weeks left. Maybe less. And here's the part that scares me the most. It's not dying. It's realizing how stupidly I lived while I was alive. This isn't going to be one of those soft, inspirational, cherish every day talks. I'm not at peace. I'm angry. Angry at myself because I traded the only thing that actually mattered for things that meant absolutely nothing. And if you're living the way I was living, you're doing the exact same thing. You just don't know it yet. I used to think I was successful. Senior project manager at a tech company, corner office, 6-figure salary, stock options, business trips, people calling me important. My calendar was booked 3 weeks out, meetings about meetings, emails at midnight, Slack messages on vacation. I wore my exhaustion like a badge of honor. 70-hour weeks, sometimes 80. I told everyone, I'm doing this for my family. That's what we all say, right? I'm doing it for them. But here's the truth I didn't want to admit. I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for my ego, for the title, for the applause, for that little hit of dopamine when someone said, "Wow, you're killing it at work." Meanwhile, my son learned how to ride a bike without me. My wife ate dinner alone most nights. And I kept promising, after this quarter, things will slow down. After this promotion, after this bonus, after this project, after. My whole life was scheduled to begin later. You know what's funny? Life never begins later. It just ends. 2 weeks after my diagnosis, my company sent me flowers, a generic card, wishing you a speedy recovery. 3 days later, they replaced me. 3 days. 10 years of loyalty replaced in 3 days. My laptop access got shut off before my chemo even started. That's when it hit me. All those late nights, all those missed birthdays, all those "sorry, maybe next time, buddy" moments with my kid. For what? For a job posting on LinkedIn. That's my legacy. A job opening. Do you know what the worst part is? Not the pain, not the treatments, not the machines. It's memory. Because when you're lying awake at 3 a.m. in a hospital bed, there's nothing to distract you. No emails, no deadlines, just your brain replaying every moment you said, "Not now." I keep thinking about this one night. My wife asked me to watch a movie with her. Just a dumb comedy, nothing special. She even made popcorn. And I said, "I can't, I've got a presentation tomorrow." I don't even remember the presentation. I don't remember what it was for. But I remember her face when I said no. Small disappointment. Quiet. Like she was already used to it. That's the look that haunts me. Not the big stuff. The tiny stuff. Because those tiny moments, that was my life. And I kept skipping them like they didn't matter. If someone had told me 5 years ago that I only had a few weeks left, I would have lived completely differently. But nobody tells you. You don't get a countdown clock. You just wake up one day, and it's almost over. So I'm going to tell you everything I wish someone had screamed at me when I was younger. Not gently, not politely, but honestly. Because maybe, if you hear this now, you won't end up where I am. In a quiet room, hooked up to tubes, talking to a camera, trying to warn strangers, while it's already too late for me. And trust me, what I realized next is the part that really broke me.
The first week after the diagnosis, I didn't cry. Not once. Everyone else did. My wife cried in the parking lot. My sister cried on the phone. Even my son tried to hide it, but I saw his face fall like the ground disappeared under him. But me? Nothing. I just calculated. How much time do I have? What treatments are possible? What are the survival rates? Can I still work remotely? Work remotely? Can you believe that? A man just told me I might not live to see Christmas, and my first thought was whether I could still answer emails. That's how brainwashed I was. My entire identity was my job. Not husband, not father, not friend. Employee, producer, performer. If I wasn't being productive, I felt worthless. So even with cancer, I kept trying to be useful. I brought my laptop to chemo, answered Slack messages while poison dripped into my veins. I told myself it made me strong, like I was fighting. But if I'm being honest, I was scared to stop, because stopping meant sitting alone with the truth, and the truth was terrifying. A few days later, my boss called me. He used that soft corporate voice. You know the one. The "we care about you" voice. He said, "Take all the time you need. Focus on your health. The team will handle things." Sounds nice, right? But what he really meant was, you're already replaceable. And they proved it fast. By week 2, my projects were reassigned. By week 3, I wasn't invited to meetings. By week 4, nobody called anymore. It was like I had already died quietly, except I was still alive to watch it happen. That messed with my head more than the diagnosis, because for 10 years, that place felt like my entire world, and it moved on without me like I never existed. Meanwhile, the people I kept postponing my life for were suddenly the only ones still there, every single day. My wife started bringing a blanket and sitting beside me for hours, not talking much, just being there, holding my hand, sometimes scrolling on her phone, sometimes sleeping, sometimes just watching me breathe. And I kept thinking, how many nights did she sit alone on the couch while I was too busy? How many dinners did she eat by herself? How many times did she want me there, and I chose work instead? Nobody warns you that guilt hurts more than cancer. Pain meds help the body. Nothing helps regret. One afternoon, my son came in after school, still wearing his backpack. He sat down and said, "Dad, remember when you said we'd build that tree house together?" And my stomach dropped, because I did say that. 3 summers ago. We even picked the spot in the backyard. I told him, soon, when work calms down. The wood is still sitting in the garage, unopened. 3 summers, gone. He's almost taller than me now. He doesn't even want a treehouse anymore. That phase passed, and I missed it. You don't get those back. That's the part nobody tells you about time. It doesn't wait politely. It doesn't pause while you chase money. Your kids grow up anyway. Your parents age anyway. Your life moves anyway, with or without you present. I used to think I was sacrificing time now to buy freedom later, like life was some kind of savings account. Work hard now, enjoy later. But later isn't guaranteed. Later is a scam we tell ourselves to justify misery, because it feels responsible. It feels adult. It feels safe. But it's a lie. There are people in this hospice who are 90 years old, and there are people who are 40. Guess which ones thought they had more time? All of them. Every single one. Nobody planned to end up here early. We all thought we had decades. Turns out, decades are fragile. They can collapse into months overnight. Last Tuesday, I tried to walk to the bathroom by myself, just 10 steps. I used to run marathons. Now 10 steps felt like climbing a mountain. Halfway there, I had to grab the wall because the room started spinning. And in that moment, something really small broke me. Not the weakness, not the fear. It was this thought. I spent my whole life rushing, and now I'd give anything just to walk 10 steps normally again. Isn't that insane? We sacrifice our health for work, then spend our health trying to survive. Backwards. Completely backwards. I lay back in bed afterwards, exhausted, staring at the ceiling, and I realized something that made my chest feel tight. If my life ended today, what would I actually have to show for it? Not achievements, not titles, real things, memories, moments, stories. And the answer scared me, because most of my memories were work, just work. Emails, airports, conference rooms, all the same gray blur. I had built a life that looked impressive on LinkedIn and empty everywhere else. And that's when I started noticing something about the other patients here, something that shook me, because the ones who seemed the most peaceful had something I never built, something way more valuable than success. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it.
Hospice changes the way you see people. Out in the real world, you judge someone in 5 seconds. Their car, their clothes, their job title. Here, none of that exists. Everyone wears the same thin gowns, same plastic bracelets, same tubes, same machines beeping next to the bed. The CEO looks exactly like the janitor. The millionaire looks exactly like the school teacher. Cancer doesn't care what you did for a living. And for the first time in my life, nobody cared what I did either. No one asked about my salary. No one asked about my title. No one said, "Wow, that's impressive." They asked different questions. Do you have kids? Are you married? Do they visit? That's it. That's how people measure your life here. Not by what you built, by who shows up. And that realization hit me harder than chemo. There's a guy 2 rooms down from me. His name is Daniel. He's 83. Skin like paper. Walks with a shaking cane. Retired bus driver. Nothing fancy. If I met him a year ago, I probably wouldn't have looked twice. But every single day, his room is full. Morning, his daughter brings coffee. Afternoon, grandkids come running in like it's a party. Evenings, his wife sits beside him, reading out loud from some old mystery novel. They laugh constantly, like actually laugh, in a hospice. It doesn't make sense. And one day I asked him, "How are you so okay?" He smiled at me like I was missing something obvious. He said, "I already lived my life. This part's just the ending." Already lived my life. Those words wouldn't leave my head because I couldn't say the same, not even close. He told me stories, nothing extraordinary, no big career highlights, just little things. Camping trips with his kids, teaching his daughter how to drive, Sunday barbecues, road trips with no destination, 40 years of morning coffee with the same woman. And the way he talked about those memories, you'd think he'd won the lottery. His eyes lit up, like each memory was gold. Then he asked me, "And what about you? What do you miss most?" And I froze. My brain immediately searched for something, anything, and all I had were work milestones, product launches, deadlines, promotions. Who misses a promotion? Who lies in bed wishing they could answer one more email? It sounded ridiculous even in my own head. So I said the first real thing that came to me. "I think I miss normal days." He nodded, like he understood exactly. And that's when it clicked. It's not the big events that make a life. It's the boring ones. The random Tuesdays, the lazy Sundays, the quiet dinners. That's the stuff that actually matters. And I skipped most of mine because I thought they were replaceable. I thought there'd always be more weekends, more dinners, more time. Turns out more is never guaranteed. Yesterday, my wife brought an old photo album. I hadn't opened one in years. We started flipping through it together. Vacation photos, birthdays, Christmas mornings, and something strange happened. In almost every picture, I wasn't there. Or I was there physically but distracted, on my phone, half turned away, laptop open. There's this one photo that destroyed me. My son blowing out candles on his 10th birthday. Everyone smiling at him. And in the corner, you see me, answering an email, head down, not even looking. I don't even remember what was so important that night. But whatever it was, it stole that moment. Forever. That version of him is gone now. Kids don't stay 10. They don't wait for you to finish your meeting. They grow up while you're busy. Life doesn't pause. It just moves, with or without you paying attention. And the scariest part, at the time, it all felt normal. That's what traps you. Nothing feels wrong while you're doing it. Overworking feels responsible. Grinding feels ambitious. Sacrificing time feels noble. Society even praises you for it. Hard worker, dedicated, hustler. Nobody says, "Hey, you're missing your life." Not until it's too late. Last night I couldn't sleep. Machines humming, hallway lights glowing under the door, and I kept thinking about something Daniel said before he left my room. He looked at me and said, "Make sure you don't leave here with words you didn't say." I asked him what he meant. He said, "Don't leave love unspoken. That's the only real regret." And suddenly I realized I spent my whole life trying to prove my worth to strangers and barely saying I love you to the people who actually mattered. How backwards is that? I chased respect from bosses and neglected the people who already loved me for free. And lying there in the dark, I understood something that honestly terrified me. I wasn't scared of dying. I was scared that I never really lived. And once that thought got into my head, I couldn't escape it. Because the next morning, something happened with my son that completely broke whatever was left of me.
This morning my son came early, before school, still half asleep, hoodie on, hair a mess. He tried to act normal, like this was just another day, like I wasn't hooked up to machines, like the word terminal hadn't entered our vocabulary. He dropped his backpack on the chair and said, "Mom said you were awake." I nodded. He sat down beside the bed, and for a minute, we didn't talk, just silence, the kind of silence that says everything. Then he pulled out his phone and started showing me something. Photos. College campuses, dorm rooms, soccer fields. He said, "I've been thinking maybe I'll try out-of-state schools." And he kept talking, pretending this was just a normal father-son conversation, asking what I thought, which one looked better, which felt right. And I realized something that crushed me. He was asking for advice, for a future I'm not going to be part of. I'm not going to help him move into that dorm. I'm not going to see his first apartment. I'm not going to meet the girl he falls in love with. I'm not going to stand in the back at his graduation. All those later moments I assumed I'd have, they're gone. Just gone. And it's strange, because your brain keeps planning like you're immortal, even when reality says otherwise. For years, I told myself, I'm working this hard so I can give him a better life, better house, better vacations, better future. But sitting there, watching him scroll through those photos, I realized something painful. He never wanted a bigger house. He never cared about fancy vacations. He just wanted me, at dinner, at games, on the couch. That's it. Kids don't measure love in money. They measure it in time. And time was the one thing I kept withholding, like it was too expensive. He suddenly stopped scrolling and said, "Dad, can I ask you something?" I said, "Yeah." He hesitated. Then he said, "Why did you work so much?" Not angry, not accusing, just confused, like he genuinely didn't understand. And I didn't know what to say. Because what do you tell your kid? I thought money mattered more than memories. I thought being important at work was more valuable than being your dad. There's no version of that answer that doesn't sound stupid. So I told him the truth. I said, I thought I had more time. And even as I said it, I realized how fragile that sentence is. Time. We talk about it like it's guaranteed, like it's sitting in a bank account somewhere, like we can spend it later. But time isn't savings, it's cash. Once it's spent, it's gone. Forever. He nodded like he understood, but I could see something in his eyes. Not anger, not sadness, just distance. Like there were years we never built together. Like there were memories that should exist, but don't. And that's the part that hurts most. Not losing the future, losing the past, the moments I could have had, but chose not to. You can't fix that with apologies. You can't buy it back. You just have to sit with it. Later that afternoon, I tried to stand up again, nurse helping me, slow steps, IV pole squeaking beside me, and I caught my reflection in the window. Thin, bald patches from chemo, hospital gown hanging off my shoulders. I barely recognized myself. And I thought about the version of me from a year ago, running through airports, complaining about meetings, stressed about deadlines that don't even exist anymore. That guy thought he was important, thought he was busy with serious things. If I could go back and talk to him, I wouldn't give him financial advice. I wouldn't tell him to invest differently. I'd grab him by the shoulders and say, "Go home." That's it. Not work harder, not achieve more. Just go home. Eat dinner with your family. Watch the dumb movie. Take the random trip. Because one day you're going to trade everything you built for just one more normal night on the couch. And you won't get it. That's the deal nobody explains. Success takes your life quietly, not dramatically, not all at once. It steals it in tiny pieces. One late night, one missed dinner, one maybe next week, until suddenly there's nothing left. And the scariest part, while it's happening, everyone claps. They call you driven, ambitious, successful. Nobody warns you you're disappearing. I used to think burnout was the price of greatness. Now I see it for what it really was. Neglect. Just dressed up to look impressive. Tonight, the nurse told me something gently. The kind of gentle that means bad news. She said we should prepare. That word. Prepare. Like you can prepare to leave your entire life behind. And lying here, staring at the ceiling again, I realize there's only one thing I'm actually afraid of now. It's not death. It's this thought. What if most people live exactly like I did and only realize the truth when it's already too late? Because if that's true, then millions of people are walking around right now thinking they're building a life while slowly missing it. And that thought scares me more than anything. Because if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're exactly where I used to be.
Last night, the hallway lights stayed on. They always do. Hospitals never really get dark. It's like they don't want you to forget where you are. Soft yellow light under the door, machines humming, footsteps every few minutes. Sleep comes in pieces here, 10 minutes at a time. Then you wake up. And when you wake up at 3:17 a.m. with nothing but your thoughts, there's nowhere left to hide. No emails, no noise, no distractions. Just the truth. And the truth is loud. Sarah was asleep in the chair again, curled up with that thin blanket they give visitors, her neck bent at an awkward angle. She looks smaller lately, tired, older, like my illness is aging her too. And I just watched her breathe for a while. In, out, in, out. So simple, so fragile. And I started thinking, how many nights did she fall asleep alone while I was still at the office? How many times did she wait up for me and pretend she wasn't disappointed? How many little pieces of us did I trade for meetings I can't even remember now? I used to think love was something big, anniversaries, trips, gifts. But lying here, I realize love is stupidly small. It's just being there. That's it. Same room, same couch, same air, presence. And somehow that was the one thing I kept failing at. Around 5 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I reached over and gently touched her hand. She woke up instantly, like she was scared to miss even a second. And she said, "Do you need anything?" Not, "How are you feeling?" Not, "Are you okay?" Just, "Do you need anything?" Like my comfort was the only thing that mattered. And it broke me. Because for years I made work the most important thing in my life. And to her, I was still the most important thing in hers. How unfair is that? You spend your life trying to impress the world, while the people who already love you just want your time. That's it. Not your success, not your money. You. Later that morning, the doctor came in. Quiet voice, careful words. You learn to read their faces. They don't say it directly, but you understand. We're close, very close. Days, Maybe a couple weeks if I'm lucky. Funny word, lucky. I used to think lucky meant promotions, bonuses, opportunities. Now, lucky means one more sunrise, one more conversation, one more dinner with my family. Your definition of everything changes at the end. Money becomes numbers, titles become jokes. Your busy schedule becomes embarrassing. 'Cause none of it can help you now. None of it sits beside your bed. None of it holds your hand. Work doesn't love you back. It never did. It just rented your life. And you paid with time you can't get back. If I could send one message to the version of me 10 years ago, I wouldn't talk about cancer. I wouldn't warn him about death. Because honestly, we all think we're immune to that. I'd just say something simple. I'd say, stop rushing. That's it. Stop rushing through breakfast. Stop rushing through conversations. Stop rushing through your kid's childhood. Stop treating life like a waiting room. Because this is it. There's no second round, no bonus level, no replay. This random Tuesday you're living right now, that's your life. Not the future, not someday, today. I used to live like real life would start after I achieved enough, after I saved enough, after I proved myself enough. But there is no after. There's only now. And if you keep postponing joy, one day you'll run out of time to schedule it. Just like me. In a few minutes, my son's coming by after school. Sarah's getting coffee downstairs. The room is quiet. Too quiet. And I'm sitting here talking to a camera, hoping that maybe one person hears this early enough. Because it's too late for me. I don't get another chance. I don't get to redo the missed dinners, or the unopened treehouse wood in the garage, or the movie nights I skipped. My story's basically written, but yours isn't. You're probably watching this on your phone or your laptop. Maybe you've got emails waiting. Maybe you're stressed about tomorrow. Maybe you're telling yourself, I'll slow down later. Don't. Later is a gamble, and sometimes you lose. Call your parents. Sit with your kids. Hold your partner a little longer. Take the stupid trip. Watch the dumb movie. Say, I love you, out loud. Not when it's convenient. Now. Because one day, you might be the one in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., begging for just one more ordinary day you used to ignore. Trust me, ordinary days are the real luxury. I'm almost out of mine, but yours not. Not yet. So please, don't waste it like I did. Go home. Be there. Live. Before you have to talk to a camera like this, wishing you had.